he was an habitual felon, 2 convictions ago.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
You're Ronnie Palmore, correct? Okay. In these 2 cases, you were charged 24 CO 1525 and 1526 with the 3rd-degree felony of unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. Okay. We have 2 prior convictions here of other felonies. So this 3rd-degree felony can be enhanced to a 2nd-degree felony punishment. You're charged with the possession of cocaine, a controlled substance, and that is a 2nd-degree felony. No, that's the big deal.
And I believe the other one,
Because they're alleging 3 convictions.
I believe the other one's habitual as well.
The person,
Yes, sir.
it's not, but it's not. It doesn't have the 2 convictions, and it doesn't say anything about it being subsequent. You see it in that paragraph 21, 2nd paragraph in that. You don't have that language that after one became final, he committed the offense.
I guess the one I have that says after the 2nd paragraph says, 3rd paragraph says, after the conviction of cause number -82383-07 became final, the defendant committed the felony of failure to register a sex.
You are correct. You're an habitual felon in both cases. You're looking at 25 years to life imprisonment on each case. That could be stacked in the appropriate circumstances. My point is, this is a most serious crime situation. Here's the issue is I'm looking at these, at the bonds, and the other one is $15,000, and those bonds were issued and placed on January 6th of 23, the day after he was arrested. Then the indictment show up, and there's no way that those are bonds for habitual felons that are reasonable bonds. And he's not indicted until a long time afterwards. Looks like the indictments are 7/7, which is a year and a half later, but there were no further bonds set. Well, the difference is this is habitual felony status. It's logical that the magistrate didn't know that because we're talking about convictions out of Dallas and Collin County, Texas, and that's a problem. It wouldn't be because bonds are based upon, according to the law, are based upon 2 things: criminal history and the circumstances of the crime. And the purpose, among other things, is to ensure that he's not going to be a danger to others. But he was an habitual felon 2 convictions ago. And now we have 2 new cases of illegal possession of a firearm by a felon and drugs, cocaine. And the circumstances here under the probable cause affidavit, this is real confusing because you had an officer, Palomoris, and the defendant is Palmore. Let's be careful about how this reads. Aggravating factors in the charged offense. What we have here is drugs and guns together, which we all know is a lethal combination. And the defendant knows that actions have consequences, since he was convicted of aggravated sexual assault of a child in 2008 out of Collin County, Texas, and also failing to register as a sex offender in 2008 out of that court. After those convictions became final, he committed a 3rd crime and was convicted of failing to register as a sex offender and was convicted of that in 2010 in Dallas County, Texas. And then, so here he is here in Jefferson County, and he is the defendant apparently goes inside the house that is known by the officer to be a drug. And he comes out and then several plastic bags on the passenger seat where the defendant is sitting. And the second larger bag is in the, I think this is center, it's EENTER, I think center, at console. locate the firearm in the passenger seat where the defendant was sitting, sniffing, dressing. Okay, well, here's a limit.
Your Honor, no, the state would just request that his bond be increased. I believe it's too low based on his criminal history as well as the danger to the community, again, with a firearm being in the vehicle along with drugs. Dangerous.
Was he fired on you? Oh, where are you working?
He's done self-employed. Self-employed, and I was trying to explain it to the last time, but.
Self-employed of what? For what?
Well, I help people, things like that in the house, but I was trying to explain things that I have a very strong support system.
But
I have a strong support system. I was trying to explain it to the last time, but.
you've been indicted with 2 new crimes. How's that working out for you? These 5 times show you have 3 prior convictions of serious offenses, and now you have 2 more crimes, a firearm case and a drug case. How's that support system working out?
What do you mean?
It looks like it's a failure.
Well, first, I mean, considering that his 3 prior convictions are from over 10 years ago, I would say that he has done a pretty good job.
Like he didn't learn his lesson, you mean?
I would think that is evidence of something, that he has gone this long without having any type of issue.
How long have you gone? Me, all of us in here. I mean, you're not supposed to commit crimes. All of us. All of us. You're interrupting. You're not supposed to commit crimes. You got 3 convictions. Now you have 2 more indictments. You're looking at every felony offense above a state jail felony. You look at 25 to life. I'm sorry about that, but there's guns and drugs in this vehicle, and you're going into a narcotics house. Well, we'll let a jury decide that. They'll decide. It's not on your terms. It's on theirs. The fact is, so you're able to pay the attorney everything, huh? Okay. I want to see your last income tax return, so we can see what he's been owing. Okay. I want that. There's going to be a hearing next week. You get your last 3 income tax returns in the last 2 years. I want those. Huh? Why not? Everybody files income tax returns. How are you paying her? So you're getting an income from, how do you exist? How do you exist if you don't have an income? You're on a free ride?
Not necessarily.
No, not necessarily. That's what you're saying.
Well,
because anything that's not given to you from your family, you have to report as income. I want to see, when was the last time you filed an income tax return, sir?
well,
Have you ever? You never filed an income tax return. How old are you? 87. So you're 25, 38 years old? 37, and you've never filed an income tax return? You've never filed an income tax return.
I had a job. I think a file.
That's crime, you know, not to file.
I don't think about. I have to stay long on the job to maybe file it.
You're just living off the grid. You don't guess you are until you get caught. You're living off the grid. That's what it seems from your criminal history and what's happened here. You have no income. You want to claim you have income, but you don't file any income tax returns like all of us have to do. And then you have money to pay this way.
Well, I help family members out years ago. So, I mean, it's just a ton of food.
I'm sorry, if you get an income, if it's a gift to you, you have to report it. Don't act like you don't know. We all know that. That's why the income taxes, we all pay income taxes. We don't live off the grid. You're 38 years of age. You know better. It's your criminal history shows that you know better. You know mistakes have consequences. But you just hadn't been caught. And the bond go woefully. It was obvious that and there's nothing to reflect that criminal history was ever, he was an habitual felon at this time. Not just one, he was an habitual, he was facing 25 to life in front of him. And 25 to life never gets a victim. It's just, I've done this my whole life. It's never that. After your 3 convictions, you've been charged with guns and drugs, the scourge of the world, of America, the scourge. You can't say that that's not true. It is. So it has accounting for it. Your bonds are going to be double. What are they, 15 and 10? I think. Is that right? Yeah. It's going to be double. You are living where? 1350 from? You will be on home confinement. You will have a GPS device on you. You leave the house, your bond will be revoked, and you'll stay in jail. Do you live there alone? Who do you live with? You can only leave to go to medical care if it's necessary. And you're not working, so you don't have to have a problem going to work.
I mean, they haven't got instances in 15 hours ago.
Well, you're not filing income tax returns and showing any income.
They pay cash.
That doesn't matter. It's cash is money. That's accountable. I know what you're doing. You're avoiding responsibility under the law. Yes, I'm sorry, sir. You just can't say, I received cash, so I don't have to pay income tax returns. I don't have to be accountable for that. Yes. If you're paid in cash, check, any other monetary fashion, you are part of it, has to go to taxes. It's the way it is. Don't act, you know how it goes, but you have avoided it. So that's what's going to happen. You're going to live in a home and stay at home, except for to and from medical care. And the bondsman finds out that you have left and also to come to court in the most direct route possible each day. You understand what the rules are. It's time you're old enough. You have to start following like we all follow. That's the way we all work in this country and live amongst ourselves. But it doesn't take anybody that's much older than a second or third grader to know that guns and drugs are one of the most lethal combinations in the world. And someone who is facing a minimum of 25 years, third-degree felony or above, needs to be completely distanced from criminal behavior. You're shaking your head like, no, that's wrong. None of that is wrong. It's all correct. And
I was just part of the situation.
that's not your fault that you're a habitual felon.
Well, I expected to find that happen, but
Well, there's guns, and you're going into a drug house. They find drugs in the car, but we're gonna let a jury decide your fate. Those are the rules. We're gonna let a jury decide your fate. You're sitting in defect.
You know, it truly is only Judge Stevens that can rip the asshole out of a sex offender because he didn't pay his taxes. That is Judge Stevens.
If you are new to my channel, please subscribe as I edit these cases and remove all of the mundane, boring, repetitive stuff. And I even remove the silences, so you get only the juicy bits, which I think are always the best bits. Are looking for another episode that has all the boring stuff cut out and gives you just the good stuff, then here a couple that may interest you. Enjoy